Hey everyone, welcome to Riff on This, candid conversations behind the music in Florida. And if you know anything about Florida or music, you know that this is a big old state and we have a ton of talent. But we're here for all the juicy details and amazing stories flowing behind all the genres in the Sunshine State. I'm your host, Samara Kokinas, taking a break from the weather to catch a musical vibe with you. From the Orlando City soccer games to the airwaves.
We are hanging out with Platinum Mike Perry. Got a fight coming up. The fight is April 29th, bare knuckle fights. How do you prepare yourself?
You've heard his voice.
So now you're in a situation, you got a new single. Let's talk about this new single.
Summer vibes, man.
Yeah.
You know, I love making music and I love putting myself in a...
But he's more than just a voice Orlando's loved on several legendary radio stations over the years. From handing out flyers on street teams to living the dream, we go beyond the mic and behind the music with the flyboy himself, Ricky Padilla. All right, today we have Ricky Padilla joining me on set. Thank you so much
Pleasure.
you're so sweet, for taking time out of your busy schedule, because I know you are one of the busiest men in Central Florida, especially in Orlando.
Yeah, I'm always on the go, but it's a pleasure. I see what you got going on here, and I'm happy to be here and, you know, chop it up with everything that's going on here in Central Florida. So thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for following the podcast. I appreciate you. Let's get right into it, because not everybody, everybody has heard your voice at one time or another with Fly, or if they've been to a soccer game in the city. Mm-hmm. You've been here a long time, and we're not, it's one of those things where you've been on air and everybody just knows. But for those that may be new to the area, let's start with where you're from and where you went to school, because I know it's a local school here in Orlando.
I was born in Jersey, but I identify with Orlando. We moved when we were young out here, and
your dad was military, right?
My dad was military, but he was out of there by then. We ended up just, getting away from the cold from Jersey. I went to Millway Middle School, Lake Howell High School. I got a scholarship to play baseball at SEC and at UCF, graduated from UCF. And just been nonstop. Like, as far as radio, I was applying for an internship for the longest time. It took a few months and I wasn't getting any response. Mm-hmm. And I finally got an email back, and coincidentally, the lady that interviewed me, I'll bring it back just a little bit. Mm-hmm. I was sitting in class, and I remember it's oceanography, and we were sitting in, I started speaking to this young lady, and she's telling me that she failed the class before and that she was struggling. And I was like, hey, look, I've been doing pretty good in class, like, if you need help, whatever. We ended up kicking it, just being cool, whatever. Can you believe when I finally get an internship, I was helping her out at oceanography. When I finally go for the internship, who's sitting in front of me? I didn't know who it was because we were just emailing. It was the girl from class.
Stop.
Yep, it was the girl that helped out in oceanography, and we became friends and, worked together for many, many years. But initially, I kept trying to get the internship and never got it. And finally I got through, and, she hired me as a street team. I started street team. From there, I waited about a year or so and was asking, like, okay, listen, I originally came here to be an intern on air. Mm-hmm. Now that I work here, do you mind if I do it outside my hours and get school credit? And they were like, yeah, go ahead. And then started to intern. Started to learn the boards and, was practicing. I remember reading stuff in the car and just trying to, like, figure out how this all work, because, nobody really shows you.
No, you don't. You learn a lot while you're, like, on the job. And that's crazy, because sometimes you're like, wait a minute, how do you even start doing this? How do you even practice,
Yeah, so I used to read, like, just articles out loud and started going from there. And then I had a chance, I applied, my shift was Sunday night. So think about Sunday night at like 2 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's a dream shift.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Like, everybody wants that shift.
Yeah, that's probably the worst shift you could get in radio. And I treated that thing like gold, and it was only 4 hours, and, I loved it. And eventually, Sunday night came into Saturday, Sunday, then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I remember getting a phone call and saying, hey, we'd like to push you up and we want to give you a job. a full-time job, and I was sitting in my car. At that time, I was like working for Sprint, working for Sabaros at UCF, working part-time on the radio. I had 3 jobs, and I was like, wow, finally. Like,
What'd you do at Sprint?
Telemarketing. Yeah, they had us doing it all. Yeah, I was that guy.
I think we all worked in a call center. I worked in the billing department with, wait a minute, Bell Atlantic Mobile.
Yeah.
Before they became Singular.
And you know what? I mean, at that time, it was, the reason why a lot of people did it, 1, they were paying for your phone, and 2, you know, that was probably like the highest paying job, you know, without any schooling. So, and they ended up, like my junior and senior year, once I stopped playing baseball, they would pay like, you know, 75% of school. So, you know, everybody was just running through there, and like, as long as you were working part-time, you're getting help with school, you got a cell phone that you don't gotta pay for, it's good pay.
Call centers were really good paying jobs back, you know, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but still, you know, it was something that you could go in, sit down, and do your job, whether or not you were telemarketing or not, you know, or you're taking billing calls. I just remember being in that atmosphere, and it was very popular.
Oh, yeah.
They had good benefits too sometimes, I guess, if you could take advantage of them.
I did that. I got the call. They gave me overnights. So my shift was 12 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning. And it was Monday through Friday.
Oh, hey, there you go.
Yeah,
you went from Sunday, wait a minute.
Exactly.
You went from Sunday to Monday through Friday, midnight to 6 a.m. So you got, that's the secondary dream shift, right?
You know, but I just kept going. And then eventually I got a phone call, and it was like, hey, we want you to do afternoons. And I remember, you hear the whispers, you know what I'm saying? Because I was doing overnight, and you know, other people might have had the opportunity and they wanted it, but I ended up getting the call. And so I started doing afternoon drive, and that was over at 102 Jams. But I was like at the bottom of the totem pole over there at 102 Jams. Like, we had all the big guys, Nasty, Pro, and all them. And so I was just trying to make a name for myself. And then I ended up getting let go at 102 Jams, and I cried. I remember crying because I was number 1 at the time, right? I was literally number 1, and I was like, there's no, like, these guys are number 4. And, you know, somebody, I don't gotta worry, I'm good over here. We're at
What's
number
the
1.
problem?
Yeah, and I remember the guy let me go, and you know, years on later, I spoke to people that worked at the company, and they was like, "Yeah, bro, he just didn't like you. Like, he didn't like you." So, but it was a blessing in disguise, because I left there and literally cried. It was a Monday. I swear, I remember everything, because my contract was over like by Friday, and he hit me with the, "Hey, you know, stop by my office before you do your shift." And I was like, "All right, bro. Like, my contract's done on Friday. You're telling me to come? Like, just tell me I'm fired."
Right.
So I left there, you know, and I already knew when I was going to talk. I was like, well, you know, I gave him the Jay-Z line. Well, what's bigger than number 1? Like, you letting me go? Like, what did I do? And he was like, oh, we're just going a different direction. Da, 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 da. And I was like, yeah, but I'm number 1. Like, I don't understand it. And so I kept my chin up, left. As soon as I got in the car, Mama!
I would have taken it seriously, because, you know, you work so hard to get somewhere and you have a passion for it. And I mean, you were working graveyard type shifts on days where people didn't want to be there, and you work so hard and you put all your heart into it, and then just somebody to let you go because they don't like you.
Yeah, it was crazy.
No.
It was crazy. Just the other day, like when we came over to fly, I wanted to tag the guy, because I remember him telling me that I wasn't gonna make it in Orlando, and I'm like, all these years later, but you really said I wouldn't make it. That's the wildest thing ever. You told me I wasn't gonna make it, and maybe that was a good thing that he told me that. But literally, I had got let go that Monday. Wednesday, I get a phone call from Steve the Man. He's over at Power 95.3, and he's like, hey, bro, I heard you don't got a job. And I was like,
word travels fast. I don't think people understand that. When you're in media, whether it's TV or radio, if you don't have a job, everybody knows, like, the second it happens.
Yeah, it's all in text messages. Hey, you heard they let go of Ricky? You know, so he called me up, and I was like, look, bro, I'm on a non-compete for 6 months. I signed a non-compete, so I can't even work in Orlando. And he's like, man, don't worry about it. Bring me the contract. So I ended up dropping off the contract at the front desk, left. Next thing you know, he was like, look, we're good. We got it taken care of. I'm hiring you over here at Power. He's like, we're gonna get you on the part-time, but you know, when something opens up, we'll get it done.
So wait a minute, did you go back to Sunday night?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I had
Like,
Saturday,
wait a
had
second.
Saturday daytime, Sunday daytime.
Okay.
I wasn't too long in part-time.
With the living.
Yeah. I had so many other things going on, so as long as I was attached in radio, I was cool with that.
Right.
I had to wait for the opportunity, to get afternoon drive, and it popped up, and so at that point I was trying to convince Nasty to come over, and he was so loyal to 102 Jams at the time, and I'm like, look, bro, you need to get out of there. Like, that's a ship, that ship is sinking, bro. Like, come on. He's like, nah, but I've been here. Da-da-da. I was like, bro, stop it. So I remember me and him at a Magic game. He's like, look what Khaled just sent me. And I said, bro, those are the same things. Those points that he told you why to leave 102 Jams to go to Power is exactly what I told you. He's like, yeah, but you're my best friend, and I thought you were just trying to hustle me. And I was like, no, I was telling you.
Trying to hustle you.
Because he thought I didn't want to be over there by myself. I wanted him with me,
Gotcha.
and they were all over there. And I was like, bro, this is just a better opportunity. So then he put his resignation in and sat out for like 3 months. And then they gave us a show together. And we did that for many years. And then Power ended up getting, I don't know what happened. They were changing their dynamic. They went into Spanish, and we got pulled to the side and say, listen, you guys have been doing great. You've been great with the company. We're going to make a shift for you at Star 94.5. And we're going to try to freshen it up. And that was a very difficult time because, Star is a heritage station as far as like the older music.
Right.
They had us coming in there to play newer music. So now the older demographic was upset that we were playing the new music, and the younger people were like, yo, y'all playing too much old music.
Yeah.
So it was a battle for the longest time.
I'm sure it's kind of like, and I'm sure you can relate to this. If you step into somebody's shoes that has left the business, there's that loyalty, that fan, that sticks with that person until they get to know you.
Yeah.
So until y'all kind of got the blend going, I'm sure that was a struggle.
Oh, they were cursing us out. They were cursing us out. Like, when I say cursing
on the
us
phone?
out, they would call the radio station and they would just talk crazy. Like, why would you guys do this? Why are you playing all this new music? Like, put back the old stuff, And so I was like, bro, I'm not picking up these phones no more. Like, the energy is like throwing me off,
It's hard to deal with that. I know if we get, hate mail or whatever it is, or it can be something as minor as, I love your hair color, but I don't like the length of your hair. And I'm just like, you've just thrown off my entire energy at this point in time. Now I got to get right. You know what I mean? So I can imagine hearing it on the phone.
And it was constant. So at that point, I was like, look, bro, I'm not picking up this phone call because it's just don't got me in a good space. Like, forget about it. So we didn't pick up the calls for a little while. But you would see, like, we would look hashtags up, Star 94.5, and they were talking crazy about us. And,
You guys were trending.
You
were trending for the wrong thing.
So we did 2 years over there, and then they were like, look, man, we're just going to go back to the old stuff. We appreciate you guys. We typically don't do this, but we're going to go ahead and give you severance pay. And they took care for like 10 months of pay because we had been with the company for so long, and we've always, we did good. We brought business.
Was that during, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but was that before or after the pandemic?
It might have been during.
Was
I
it
don't
during?
know. Yeah, it might have been
because
during.
I remember because, I listen, when you guys are on the radio, I listen, know, and I have certain people that I listen to, but I remember all of a sudden not hearing you guys for a minute. And I was like, wait a minute, they go on vacation again?
So Nasty, what he wanted to do was write this big old paragraph. And I was like, bro, I'm not telling nobody I'm not on the radio. I'm going to take this money, chill out for a little while. If they notice that we're not there, they notice. If they don't notice, I said, but I'm not going to announce it and tell people that we got let go. I said, though we got taken care of, I said, in essence, we really got let go. Like, we got let go. So
there's no easy way to put that either. And you'll have your fans that'll be upset about it, even though you got a severance, which you don't necessarily need to disclose.
I was cool. And then I was talking to two radio stations. I remember this is crazy. I won't bring up the stations, but they offered me a job in the morning. And again, like a little baby, I started crying because I was trying to bring Nasty. And I had to call Nasty and say, hey, bro, like, they offered me the job, but it's just me. I was like, for the first time, in all these years.
The dynamic duo would be working apart.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know if I want to take the job. And I genuinely cried because it's like, yo, this is my partner. We've done this together for so many years. He was like, bro, go. He's like, if you're winning, I'm winning. Don't worry about it. Just go. And ultimately, I didn't take the job. I don't know why, but I kind of knew why. It just didn't feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And so then there was another radio station I was talking to, and we were having a couple conversations. And Stevie called me and about something else. I had set him up with something, and I was
Same guy that took care of that contract and got you on air.
Yep.
is calling you again.
Yep. And every job really, because he gave me the job at 102 Jams. Then he left. He went, I think, up north, and then came back, and then started doing Power. Gave me the job at Power, set me up over at Star, and then he left, and then he was over here at this radio station now, which was a country radio station, and they had a play going on, and I had told him, I said, hey, listen, I got a meeting tomorrow for this radio station, and, kind of looks promising or whatever. He said, can I call you back? And I was like, yeah. I didn't think nothing of it. He's like, where are you at right now? I was like, at the pool with the kids. Why? What's up? He's like, can I come over? And I was like, I'm kind of chilling with them. I said, let's catch up later. So I told him to meet me at Novelty. Went over to Novelty, got a little bottle, talking, and then he told me what the play was, what was going on. And he's like, I want to offer you this. And I was like, the meeting's tomorrow at the other station. I'm not going. And he's like, no, go find out what's going on. And I was like, I'm not going, bro. Like, that's it. You've given me a job after job after job, and you know that I'm gonna work hard for you, and I know that you're not gonna, do me dirty.
Right, and steer you in the wrong direction either.
So I was like, I'm not even going. He's like, go. Coincidentally, the guy cancels on me the next day, and I was like, that's God.
Wow, look at how God works.
I was like, bro, he canceled. He's like, did you not go? And I'm like, no, he swear he canceled on me. And I never tried to reach back out to reschedule everything. And at that point, we were already kind of rolling out. I was going to the radio station, seeing what was going on, and here it is. Now, a year later, and when I tell you that we're trending upwards, it's insane.
I already know you guys are. So the thing is, like, when I heard about it, I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. This is what the city needs.
Exactly.
Because I'm gonna tell you, when I came back from Texas, there was no 102. That was my station.
Yeah.
I grew up listening to 102.
Yep.
And then for it not to be there, I was like, who
gonna
do I listen to?
Yeah.
So then I started listening to Star. I was like, oh, okay, I found them.
Yeah.
I found them.
Yep.
And I started listening, and I was like, it's different, right? Because there was that mixture.
Yep.
And then when I remember then Party went off air. I remember hearing the countdown for that. And then I remember listening the day Fly went on the air. And the countdown to switching from country. I was thinking to myself,
oh, and they were hyped too. They weren't the happiest, those country folks over there.
That part. I was like, oh, these country folks that are listening. And don't get me wrong, I like country music. I like a lot of different genres. But to go from country to the top 40, hip hop, pop stuff, I was thinking to myself, this is going to be good, And then you guys hit the ground running, and then the release of the lineup came out, and I just have to tell you, my heart was so happy.
Yeah, so was I.
To see so many greats at one station, including Stevie.
Yeah.
You to see so many greats at one station, and then they brought on JR, and then they brought Carla, and I was just like, bravo, well
love
done.
The team over there, and when I tell you, like, we are really trending up. Like, they're taking us out to eat next week, and they said we've already surpassed everything that has been done with the country station. Like, we blew their numbers away. We're billing. We're billing.
We needed it.
Like, so you got to think, we started with 0 listeners, right? Pretty much.
No, that was me.
Yeah.
I promised you. I was streaming. I was getting ready for work that day, and I was in my bathroom, and I was streaming. I was like, I gotta hear this. I gotta hear this.
So we had, a few listeners, but when I tell you we made such a dent in the market that, the shares, I think we weren't even at a 1 when we first started, and now we're at like a 7, 8, and we've taken away from others, and it's just like, when I tell you climbing upwards, like, it's amazing. And it's a fun place to be at, man, because it's exactly what you said. It's what Orlando needed. Like, we play those reggaeton records, we play those pop records, we play the hip hop records. That is a reflection of what Orlando is.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that wasn't going on nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
No, you'd have to listen to 3 different stations.
Yep.
I literally had to listen to 3 different stations to get that. And 102 used to be that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was iconic, and then it went away, and I was just like, okay, now I gotta listen to 4 different stations.
Yeah.
But then you guys came back around, and I was like, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna steer backwards a little bit because you did mention you and Nasty being together for for a long time together, working together. But it wasn't always like that.
No.
You got to tell everybody about that.
At the radio station at 102 Jams, I was washing cars out in front. I had like a whole little system, and it was a 4-story building. People would just leave their car and give me their keys. I'd wash it outside, just making some extra money. I didn't know Nasty, but I knew him. I would pay to go to all his parties, and so every time I would see him, I wasn't embarrassed. Like, hey, bro, you need your car washed? Like, I'm already out here. Like, dirty's there. Might as well get it. But he kept saying no. He kept saying no, and eventually, I was working as the street team, driving on 102 Jan's van. And he was doing a party at another place. So the station would send me to this one club. He was working at the other club. And then I started getting phone calls from Nasty on a regular basis. And I was like, oh, maybe he wants to be cool. And then I realized, oh, this guy's just using me for information. You know what I'm saying? That's all he wants. It's like, oh, so how was the club last night? Did they have a lot of people? And I was like, oh, no, it was all right, nothing crazy. Da-da-da. He's like, all right, cool, I'll hit you back. I'm like, all right.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Social media wasn't popping like that, so you didn't know what was going on. Somebody had to be at the club, and the club that the station had me going to was his competition. You know what I'm saying? So he was calling me to get information, and and then we ended up. It was crazy because it was 2 situations. Like a DJ called out and he moved up, and a radio person called out. And I moved up, and we had one show together, and that one show, it was like, okay, we got something here. Like, the chemistry it's not like that with anybody else. It's not, and he obviously knew it, and
he was like, yes, you can wash my car.
Yeah, for free, yeah. But we had that one show, and then ultimately what ended up happening was a couple other shows, and we're like, all right, look, the chemistry, like, we can clown on each other, we can joke, like, you get my jokes, I get your jokes, we laugh, and it makes it, it just, it's there. And so when I left 102, went to Power, I was like, look, bro, come over here, man. Stop playing games over there. Come over here, they're gonna give us a show, we do what we do, and let's go. And we were #1 for the longest time over there. But they ended up selling the company, and they wanted to switch it to Spanish. And so we lost out there, and then went to Star.
Yeah.
And went together at Star.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, you've also expanded over the years to do many different things. It's not just radio for you. It's not just, I mean, people see you out and about in the streets, downtown, you're always doing a party, and you're always doing a few other things too, including Orlando City. I know you do some MC work for them. Yeah,
so about 3 seasons ago, I applied for a position over there as the on-air, well, it's not on-air because it's before the game and halftime. They don't have timeouts and stuff like that in soccer, so it's running clock. So we're on TV right before the game, just hyping the crowd up, doing sponsorships, whatever they got us going on. And then halftime, again, hyping people up and, doing the sponsorships and giving away stuff. And I love it, man. It's been my 4th season. And
what made you, first of all, are you a soccer fan?
Yeah.
Okay, so am I, but I didn't know that. I knew you do baseball. But.
Yeah, I'm more of a baseball guy, but I was going to the games, and once I found out that was open, I was like, this is perfect. Like, it's a seamless situation. Like, I'm already talking on the mic at the radio station. I'm already talking on the mic in the club. I did another TV station for a few years. I can just, same thing. And I went in, and they was like, I didn't know what was going on, so I did the interview, and it was like, all right, so you're gonna start next week, and I was like, oh, all right, we're good, yeah.
Let's roll. And now you got your own jersey. I saw you had your own jersey, I believe.
Yeah, they give us our jerseys with our name on it and stuff like that, and they just been amazing people over there at Orlando City Soccer, yeah.
So you do a few other things too. I mean, you mentioned Novelty and...
Yeah, Novelty and Artisan Table, part of a groups that own those.
Both are really dope spots, by the way. I like
Thank
both
you.
of them. The food at Artisan's Table.
Oh, yeah, amazing. The brunches right now on Smash over there on Saturday and Sunday. I also have a management company called So Cultured. I ended up signing a young man 10 years ago, and still to this day, we still work together. and it's just been a blessing.
And he is?
LaJuan James.
Yes, that's right. Because I love his social posts.
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
He's hysterical. When the first time I ever saw him, dressed up like, I think it's his mother.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And he's just, oh my goodness, it's so funny.
It was such a great situation because I sat with his parents when I signed him. I said, listen, your son is going to be a star. Like, and at this point, he was nowhere near where he was at on social media. And I was like, but he has it. I said, I've been working in the entertainment business for so long. This kid has it. Like, he's going to make it. I said, there's going to be a day that we're going to sit down in the movie theater and watch him on the movies, right? Mm-hmm. And that day came. He ended up doing a part at Pirates of the Caribbean.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had a small part in that.
What? What did he do?
He was just an extra. He said something like, in the passing, but
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was able to tell his mom, see, I told you so. I told you. And that was a cool feeling. And just to see so many things like, I think it was the Grammys, Camila Cabello opened up, and it was the first time it was a Hispanic opening up at the Grammys. And she requested LaJuan to be on stage with her.
I love that.
Yeah, she requested that. And I was like, bro, like, you understand you part of history. It's the first time a Puerto Rican girl opens up for the Grammys and she wants you behind her. And the actor that you're talking about, he was playing the mop with the wig and the, yeah. And so
That's awesome.
I think, I want to say he was in one of the videos too that she did, for her song. It's just been a blessing to watch everything that he has going on. And, he jokes around and says, I'm Walter Mercado. And Walter Mercado is like a predictionist. Like, you remember him back in the day? He's like, bro, how did you know all this? I was like, bro, I don't know how, but I knew you have it. Like, you have it.
You were right. When he put on social media the day that he was able to buy his parents a house.
Oh, that went crazy.
Let me tell you something. The dust in the room must have been
heavy for everybody.
Seriously, because I was like,
yeah.
I loved it. I loved that for him and his family. And then I started seeing his mom in like T-Mobile commercials, I mean, it was wild.
Yeah.
I know you're super proud of that moment too. I mean,
and him being Orlando too, like that's
right.
big for us. Like, because at that point, like, they were telling all the influencers, you need to move to LA, and he was like, I'm not doing it, and so he stayed here and stayed true to his form, and became super successful, and it's just a crazy story.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So, I'm going to go and ask you a few questions here just because I have to do this.
Yeah.
What are some of the wildest moments? Because I know you do a lot of parties downtown. A wild moment that we can share on air that will stick with you forever, that you just still can't believe that happened to this day.
I was part owner of Ono nightclub, and social media was just starting to like become big,
Everybody was on High Five?
Yeah. I think it was MySpace or something. Nah. But World Star was huge at the time, and I was sitting upstairs, and we did a party with the game, and I don't know what happened. I do know what happened, but long story short, it was like, I don't know if I can say it was one pimp and another pimp. Like, I'm dead serious.
Been pimping since been pimping. I got you.
And so they end up telling the story and they end up fighting. When I tell you that it was probably like 15 on 15, and that fight, like typically in a club, a fight goes for like a minute or so like that, and then they kind of, there was no stopping that.
Really? All out brawl.
It was all out brawl. That had to have been the wildest thing I saw. And we were just watching. I was like, man, this has been going on. Like, when is it gonna stop? Like,
velour hats flying.
Everything. Because it was like 15 on 15. Wow. And we're just sitting there. It's like, okay, the 4 bouncers ain't gonna be able to do nothing because there's 30 guys fighting in here.
They're like, you guys handle it. You guys handle it. Wow.
Yeah, that was definitely the craziest thing I've ever seen. You see a lot of other stuff, but.
Yeah. All you have to do is walk down the street at night sometimes. So, what is something that no one really knows about you?
That I graduated and I've never shown my degree. A lot of people always say, you party for a living, and I just smiled and, I don't take it personally because like you don't know me, so you think because I'm throwing event after event after event that all I do is party for a living, but that's not the case. I have a 4-year degree from UC. I've never used it, never had to apply for a job and show it, but I did get it, and I'm proud of that. You know what I'm saying? So when people say stuff like that, I kind of just smile. I'm like, all right, yeah, I just party for a living. You don't know what I do, but it's all good.
Right, but everybody, what they see and what is on social media is one thing, but who you are, it doesn't define you.
Yeah.
Social media does not define you.
Yeah.
It may help you grow.
Yeah.
And build your brand.
Yeah.
But it will not define you and who you are and what you're doing. And plus, move in silence. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Because everybody's out to try to
of course.
do one thing or another.
Yeah, a lot of people, they really don't know. I mean, you obviously know because you've been to the venues and stuff like that. But, I just, okay, whatever. It's cool. I party for a living.
Listen, you party good.
Yeah.
It's always a good time. Yeah. It's always a good time. So who is one person that really has inspired you throughout your career? Or in the beginning or now, recently, to kind of motivate you to do more? So
I always look at Diddy business-wise, right? When
it's a good person to look at.
Yeah, obviously. To me, he was one of the ones that kind of let us know that we need to own our own stuff. It's not so recent that social media kind of gives you opportunity to say you got to own your stuff, you own your own stuff, and you try to do all this. That was always a big thing. Like, I was having a joke with somebody the other day, and I was like, yo, think about it. Like, they taught us algebra. I said, when was the last time you used algebra? I said, I guarantee the last day of that class was the last time you probably used algebra. Unless you were building buildings or whatever. I said, you really never used that. We were never taught to own stuff. And I think Diddy started it off, letting them know, like, we own this. And those kind of things made me realize, okay, I don't want to work. I want to own things. Right now, if you ask my son, do you want to work or do you want to own something? You want to own your own business, Daddy.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. And it means so much just because, our parents are great parents.
Yeah.
But, that time frame raising us,
different.
It's different.
Yeah.
And, we don't always say, hey, listen, do better.
Yeah.
It's not an insult to your parents to do better.
My mom asked me about a year ago, and my answer I thought was going to be a genuine answer, and she took it offensively, and I didn't mean for her to take it offensively. She said, if I could have done anything better as a mom, what could it have been? And I said, I think not pushing me to go to college and learning business would have been, I said, because I spent a lot of time, to get a degree that I've never used. I said, now I'm not gonna discourage my kids to go to college, but that's not gonna be the only thing.
Only way.
Yeah.
Right.
And I said, your time and my time were different. We were starting to understand that we can own our own stuff, that we can be a part of a bigger picture, be in a room and get shares of, a nightclub or whatever the case may be. And so I said, I spent all that time, literally my first 2 years, I had to do some prerequisite classes to get to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Gen Ed. Oh my goodness.
So there was so much time spent on that. And again, I'm proud that I have it, but I've never used it. You know what I'm saying? And so she took offense to it, and I said, Mom, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that. I'm just telling you, you were at the tip. You were, hey, work hard for this company. You give them everything you got. Every year you get a 3% raise. Congratulations, you made it. No, that's not what I'm saying? That's not the situation. We want to own our own stuff. We want to be a part of everything that's going on. Anything that we're a part of, we want to own it. And so, I was like, you were the tail end of that, and I was the beginning of, people starting to understand that we own our own stuff, because that social media started opening up. Now we have access to, how do you own a business? How do you open up an LLC?
Right.
How do you do all this stuff? Social media let us know, and so.
I think it's really important, like you said, just to kind of push the generation forward in a new direction. It's not necessarily completely different than the old direction, but it is pushing. Like my kids, when they were young, they already knew about investing because I talked about it with them.
Yeah.
I made it part of their lifestyle as they grew up. So when you know, my son Kevin turned 18. The first thing he did with his money was invest. And I'm like, dude,
there you go.
Listen, if I could have done that.
Yeah. But we weren't taught. And it's nothing against our parents.
Right.
It's just they didn't know. They didn't know.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And now we have that knowledge with social media being out. You know, you can just scroll on Instagram and you follow somebody that's doing, you know, good things or like, you know, very successful, and you're like, oh, you're absorbing that knowledge just by going through Instagram, scrolling up, you know?
There are 10-year-olds on YouTube making six-figure salaries.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I want to be 10 right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of, not really. I really appreciate my childhood. But
yeah. No, I feel you. Yeah, it's crazy. Social media is a powerful tool. You know what I'm saying?
Good, the bad, the ugly, the great.
Tons of money to be made off of it, you know? So, yeah.
What is one thing that if you could tell anybody, you know, when they look at you and they're just like, oh, okay, how does he party for a living, supposedly, right? And you've got your hands in 10 different things.
Yeah.
What would you tell people coming up, especially for entertainment? Because entertainment has just really morphed into this social media frenzy, so to speak. But I mean, everybody's life is out there 24/7. What would you say to those people coming up that want to succeed?
There's so many, because I think of each scenario, right? But like, for me, let's say somebody wants to do radio, right? And they're coming up. I was like, you got to understand there's a fine line between ambition and annoying, right? So if you're trying to be radio, or let's say you're doing TV and I want to be on TV, and I'll come up to you, Samara, I want to be on TV, I want to be on TV. Though I'm passionate about it, like the way I come off to you is like, yo, this guy won't leave me alone. He wants to be on TV. He thinks it's just that easy.
Right.
No. Then I explained to him like, okay, Samara, what were the steps that you took to be on TV? Like, I would love to learn how, you know what I'm saying? So
that's it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Key.
These people, you know, everybody's like, social media got it to where like, hey, I got a new song. Check it out. Play it on the radio. Like you haven't even said, hey, how you doing? All you did was just say, hey,
got a
new single. I don't even know you from a hole in the wall. Got a new single. It's hot for radio. Play it this week. Okay, yeah, let me do that for you right now, boss. Let me get on that.
No, but it's social media has turned society into an instantaneous gratitude type mindset. So what, you know, people, if they don't get it instantaneously, or if they didn't get it 5 minutes before it was supposed to be here,
yeah,
come on.
I've seen it done with people, and I was like, you've only been interning 3 months. Like, why are you mad? like you know,
because I didn't get a lunch.
Yeah. Like,
guess what? In entertainment, sometimes you don't eat.
Yeah. So you know that it's always that, you know, you gotta learn that fine line, ambition and annoying. And if you can learn that in anything you got going on, you know, whether you want to be in radio, you want to be a promoter, whether you want to be on TV, like you gotta speak to people and just, you can't just say, hey, like, put me on TV, I'm great. Like, it's been mind-boggling how many times people are like, yo, I got a great voice for radio, man. You should let me be part of your show. Like, did this guy really just say this? Like,
I got a great voice for radio. Let me be part of your show. Wow.
So, once you find that fine line of showing that you have ambition and you're not annoying, I think in anything you got going on, that'll always work.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you 100%. Ricky, you've been amazing.
Oh, thank you for having me.
No, seriously, thank you for coming out, because I know we've been talking for a while about doing this, and I'm so glad that it came together, because I just felt like, especially after speaking with you, it was a couple days ago, and I really learned your story. I was like, okay, yeah, we definitely need to get out here, because I mean, you've got a ton of really hilarious stories that we cannot share on this show. Okay.
Lots.
But if people want to listen to you or find you, where do you suggest they go?
First off, Instagram at Ricky Padilla, RICKYPADILLA. You can catch me at the Orlando City Soccer games. I'm there, all home games. You can catch me on the radio from 4 to 8, Fly 1031. And you can catch me downtown. I'll be hanging out at Novelty and Artisan Table.
And sometimes riding on either one of the little cart guys or your scooter.
Yeah.
I've seen you do that. I'm like, hey, Ricky. And you're like, hey. Gotta go to the next spot. So.
Yeah. So.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I love it.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode of Riff on This. Be sure to stay locked in tight. I'll have another episode coming to you soon. Thanks for listening to this episode of Riff on This, and a special thanks to Ricky P for stopping by the studio to share his story. We appreciate you. You can follow Ricky on Instagram or Facebook by searching Ricky Padilla, and also tune in and hear him live on the airways for your weekday drive home from 4 to 8 on Orlando's hottest hit station, Fly 103.1. And don't forget, you can link me on my social media. Just search Samara Kokinas News 6 on Facebook. On Instagram, just search Samara Kokinas. And before we go, a huge thank you to our behind-the-scenes production team, Derek Mosier, Ryan Halley, Philip Deems, and Joseph Grennan. Please take some time to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And don't forget, sharing is caring, so tell a friend about us too. You can find videos of all the podcast episodes on YouTube, as well as clickorlando.com/riffonthis.